Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The Rosary Coast to Coast held in Franklin County. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story.
Making dreams come true. Sister Catherine Homrock talks about her life as a sister of St. Joseph. I'm Rebecca Drake, and I'll have the story.
And the first in our series of our Catholic Communications pilgrimage to Poland, Vienna, and Prague. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel as we come to the close of October, the month dedicated to the Rosary. Earlier this month, people all across the country and around the world joined in prayer. The event, called Rosary Coast to Coast, brought Catholics together to pray for peace, for life, and for the Church. Carolee McGrath has the story from Turner's Falls.
Close to 200 people gathered at Our Lady of Czestochowa Parish in Turner's Falls on October 7th, the feast day of Our Lady of the Rosary. The Franklin County Deanery hosted the Rosary Coast to Coast, uniting in prayer with Catholics across the nation, around the world, and right here in the Diocese of Springfield, offering petitions for life, peace, and healing. The event capped off the 54-day novena for our nation, sponsored by the Holy League, a national parish-based group of men united in devotion to the Blessed Sacrament. The event began with the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, followed by a meditation delivered by Father Sean O'Manion, the pastor of Our Lady of Czestochowa.
It's very timely because, as you know, we're in a time in the history of our nation, in the history of the world, in the history of the Church, where we're dealing with a lot of tension, conflict, and polarization. And so I think that this is very important for us to participate in this act of public witness, this act of public reparation, to make a statement of love for our Eucharistic Lord, a statement of love for our Blessed Mother, and to turn to her specifically, seeking the healing that she can give us as our mother.
Following Father O'Manion's talk, the congregation joined in a Eucharistic rosary procession through the streets of Turner's Falls, praying both the joyful and sorrowful mysteries. The procession ended at Unity Park on the Connecticut River, where the group prayed the glorious mysteries at 4 p.m., joining with Catholics nationwide participating in the Rosary Coast to Coast, including a rosary rally held at Washington, D.C. Eves Jakes, who helped organize the event, explained how Pope Pius V founded the Holy League in 1571, when outnumbered Christians in Europe were victorious in the Battle of Lepanto, defeating the Ottoman Turks.
It was really a victory of the Rosary. Several hundred years later, almost 500 years later, and we're in a battle. But the battle today is really against the forces of evil. And we want, from coast to coast, Our Lady to protect us and to guide us into the future so that we could truly live in peace and harmony and truly live our faith according to God's will.
Joy Pelk, also a member of Our Lady of Czestochowa, helped organize the event.
I put an email out to the members of our church, and we got an immediate response of about 10, 12 people who said, yes, let's do this. And with what's happening in our culture now, not only the crisis in our church, but the crisis in our culture and with our youth and families, that's really our inspiration for doing this.
The organizers of the Rosary Coast to Coast say we're facing a spiritual battle. They say it's never been more important for Catholics all around the world to be united in praying the Rosary. And they say we have to keep asking the Blessed Mother to lead us to her Son. Father Timothy Campoli is the pastor of Holy Trinity and Blessed Sacrament parishes in Greenfield.
For so many people today, they're not pleased as the things are happening within our church, within our country. And really the only answer is our prayer, and that we be united in our prayer.
Participants are hoping to make the Rosary Coast to Coast an annual event in Franklin County. Reporting from Turners Falls, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And a Rosary Coast to Coast was also held in other area parishes. While many in the Springfield Diocese knew Sister Catherine Hamrock as Director of Pastoral Ministries and coordinator of the annual Catholic Women's Conference, or perhaps from her years as a member of our Catholic communications team, this Sister of St. Joseph has served in many roles during her nearly 60 years in religious life. In fact, as she tells reporter Rebecca Drake in this special profile, her vocation has helped her fulfill all of her childhood hopes and dreams.
The story of Catherine Hamrock's ministry as a Sister of St. Joseph can be summed up in one familiar movie title, It's a Wonderful Life.
My life would be so different if I hadn't become a Sister of St. Joseph. That was truly a gift from God to me. I looked in the mirror one day and the mirror said, Kathy, you're going to become a Sister of St. Joseph.
The youngest of Andrew and Mary Hamrock's 5 children, Sister Kathy grew up near St. Jerome Church in Holyoke.
Growing up in a poor family in Holyoke, my father worked in a wire mill. But we were a family of deep faith. Both my parents were people of deep, deep faith.
Sister Kathy joined the Sisters of St. Joseph of Springfield after graduating from St. Jerome High School in 1959. As a young sister, she taught elementary school and later had the opportunity to work with developmentally disabled children.
It was just really a wonderful experience. So that ingrained in my mind, made me realize that that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with children with special needs.
This experience led Sister Kathy to the ministry that would become the highlight of her life's work, the Jericho Players, a community theater group that featured children and young adults with developmental challenges.
I remember one brother of one of the gals who had Down syndrome, who was in our shows, said to me, Sister Kathy, I have to tell you, I came out of obligation to my sister, Anne Marie, but that was really good theater. That was like the best compliment I could receive.
Perhaps the greatest testament to the success of the Jericho Players came from the parents of the special needs youngsters.
Just the joy in the faces of their parents. Being able to recognize the fact that my child can do something. Because they did. They were wonderful on stage. They followed directions. Some of them couldn't speak, but they were enjoying themselves and they were really doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Another special chapter in Sister Kathy's life story has been her work as a reporter and producer for the diocese's Catholic Communications Ministry.
The man whose artwork is beautifying the corridor between the Huller Center and St. Michael's Cathedral this year admits to not liking art when he was younger. I've met wonderful people through the work. I really did meet a lot of wonderful people through the work. People who were willing to talk about difficult times, people who wanted to talk about their faith and the strength of their faith and what it meant to them.
In recent years, Sister Kathy also served the diocese as Director of Pastoral Ministries. But one thing that has remained the same for more than 30 years is her commitment to the Gray House. Sister Kathy continues to live on the top floors of the social service agency that she helped found in the 1970s.
We looked at this house and it was, it wasn't the way it is today. We were able to buy it for $500 from the city, and then we got a lot of money from people who realized that these sisters would do something with this house, and we have. So we have a wonderful program here.
The Gray House serves children and adults in the north end of Springfield with educational programs, after-school and summer activities, and food assistance.
I'm so happy to be connected with this place now. So it's just like my life keeps getting richer and richer and richer because of the decision to become a Sister of St. Joseph.
And this sister has some advice for those thinking about a religious vocation.
Take a chance, make a commitment. It's hard for people to be committed in marriage. It's hard for people to be committed at their jobs. But, if you trust in God and the fact that you're, being called to something listen to that call and see if you can follow it and find out that, you're going to be a lot happier if you do.
Through her vocation, Sister Kathy says she has fulfilled all of her life's dreams.
She sang the anthem in front of 35,000 fans.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming.
Recently retired from diocesan work, this Sister of St. Joseph looks forward to many more years of living her mission and thanking God for all she has been given. For Reel to Reel, I'm Rebecca Drake.
Sister Kathy continues to live out her vocation through a variety of volunteer ministries, including a local restorative justice program. Currently, she is rehabbing from a mishap in which she injured her shoulder, and we at Catholic Communications wish her well and look forward to her visits to us when she's feeling better. We have more for you still to come on Reel to Reel. Dan Dumas will have stories from across the diocese in this week's news briefs. And we will begin our special series highlighting our summer pilgrimage to Eastern Europe. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
Help me recognize your voice.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passion's Brother Terrence Scanlon, inviting you to take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday morning. We welcome Bishop Mitchell Rosansky as our Mass presider and celebrate the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Chalice of Salvation, Sunday mornings at 10 on 22 News, and coming up next on Fox 23 WXXA.
Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
St. Mary's Parish School of Westfield.
St. Mary's Parish Schools have been educating children since 1898, centrally located in Westfield, with a successful college prep curriculum, small class sizes, in a safe, respectful, and nurturing learning environment, where students of all faiths are welcome, with 13 competitive sports teams, an exceptional fine arts program, and a 100% college acceptance rate. To learn more, visit stmsaints.org.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. The school year is well underway, and at the University of Massachusetts, that meant it was time for the second annual prayer walk. Carolee McGrath reports.
They started inside the chapel at the Newman Center, kneeling before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. And then more than 40 people set out across the UMass campus to pray for students, faculty, and staff on the second annual prayer walk. People split up into 7 groups and took different routes around campus.
The goal of the prayer walk is to just cover the campus in prayer, to bless campus, to just invite the Holy Spirit to come down and just be part of the students, faculty, staff, anyone who comes here, just to bring God to the campus and to bring light and just to really bless it and claim it for God.
Organizer Megan Johnson is active at the Newman Center, where she attends Mass and helps to facilitate Newman Women, a prayer group on campus. Johnson gave each group a map and a list of intentions, which included prayers for students who might be struggling with their courses, friends, or feeling homesick. Each group leader also carried a prayer sheet, which included the Litany of Saints, the prayer to St. Michael, and the prayer of St. Francis.
That's one of the things that the Newman Center is here for, is to help students and the faculty and the community develop their relationship with God, with Jesus, so that they have that inner strength to stand up for what they believe in, and to really not succumb to what the world tells them that they should be doing.
Juliet Kamara, a mother of 4, also participated in the walk last year as well. Kamara emigrated from Guinea with her late husband more than 20 years ago.
So many things happen, and I just leave it to God. God, we believe in God, and we need to believe in God. It's number one. That's why when we took the walk, I was telling Deacon Thomas that we need to believe in God. People who don't believe it, they need to wake up. Look at what's going around the world.
Some groups prayed the Rosary on the walk, and others the Divine Mercy Chaplet. Rami Saya, an engineering student at UMass, walked and prayed with his family and a friend.
I find this really important at a time where so many people have shifted from faith and from everything that's related to morality and spirituality.
Following the walk on campus, people met back inside the chapel for benediction and to pray the divine praises, which concluded the Holy Hour. An ice cream social was then held in the Burke Lounge. Reporting from Amherst, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Thanks, Carolee. In other news, it was Prayers for Life that was held recently at Our Lady of the Lake in Southwick. David Martin reports.
Parishioners and members of Pro-Life of Pioneer Valley attended an 11 a.m. pro-life Mass to offer healing and prayer to those who had abortions. The Mass was celebrated by Father Henry Dorsch, pastor of Our Lady of the Lake.
The Life Mass recalls to mind the dignity of human life from the moment of conception and that it needs to be more protected than it is. So we're always hoping also that the basic dignity of the right to life formulated in our Constitution can always be upheld.
The monument to the unborn at Our Lady of the Lake was donated several years ago by the Knights of Columbus. It was later relocated to the St. Joseph's courtyard at the church, which is used for prayer. Following the Mass, everyone gathered in the courtyard to pray the Rosary before the monument. Harold Brunault, president of Pro-Life of Pioneer Valley, is enthusiastic that offering pro-life prayers on a daily basis has become more common.
Believe me, prayers work. I ran across it many times in our own family where they didn't think there'd be any pregnancies, and I now have 2 new grandchildren that we never expected. So the Lord is blessed and is good.
Brunault hopes that praying before monuments to the unborn will help bring an end to abortion. Later, a light lunch was provided in the Father Shea Hall. In Southwick, I'm David Martin.
And remember, you can always stay informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Reel to Reel. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Reel to Reel news briefs.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
For many of the faithful, praying to a favorite saint or image of Our Lady is a common daily activity. But do you ever wonder about their geographical origins? For those who do, the Diocese of Springfield has made it possible in recent years to travel to these sacred destinations. Father Gary Daly and Bishop Mitchell Rosansky accompanied a group this past July on a pilgrimage to Poland, Vienna, and Prague. Our chief videographer, Bill Pekosha, tagged along, camera in hand, to bring our viewers a first-hand account of these beautiful locations. Part 1 in our pilgrimage series begins now with our somewhat weary travelers landing in Poland and spending the first couple of days visiting Warsaw and making their way to Jasna Gora and the shrine of Our Lady of Częstochowa.
We are on pilgrimage. Join us as we visit the sacred sites in the beautiful countryside and landscapes of Poland and Vienna traveling from there into the Czech Republic and concluding our journey in the glorious city of Prague. Travel with Bishop Rozansky and participate with us in the many grace-filled events of this magnificent pilgrimage. We arrive in the capital and the largest city in Poland, Warsaw. Our stay in Warsaw is brief, stopping to celebrate Mass at the Church of St. Stanislaus Kostka, where the remains of Blessed Jerzy Popieluszko, the Solidarity priest murdered in 1984, are buried.
And certainly for Father Jerzy Popieluszko, he saw his people persecuted. He saw them not able to practice their faith the way they wanted to. He saw them living in the slavery of communism, and he wanted them to be freed from that slavery. But he did not preach a gospel that advocated violence. Rather, he preached a gospel that advocated truth. And in that word of truth was the power to overcome evil.
After Mass, we take a short bus ride to Old Town, which is a tourist hub, with cobblestone alleys and medieval buildings reconstructed after World War II. It suffered a great misfortune when Nazi Germany bombed and leveled the city of its beautiful buildings. But as we learn about the Polish people, nothing can get them down. And with faith and determination, they rebuild. We enjoy some great Polish cuisine before we make our trek to Częstochowa for an overnight. We're today with the pilgrims. We'll be on tour to learn more of the history of this great image, this miraculous image of Our Lady of Częstochowa, dating back centuries. This is the spiritual capital of Poland. Millions of pilgrims come to this shrine every year. Pauline, Father Simon, our tour guide through the monastery, gives us a brief history of this holy place.
The Pauline Father expanded the order from Hungary 1382. 16 of them came, fathers and brothers, at those wooden church with the monastery. And God's providence, the Prince, Chancellor of King Louis the Great, touring with holy icon, saving from Tatar, going to the west, and he found a home, and he left the holy icon.
And many pilgrims walk to Częstochowa, particularly for August 15th, right?
Yeah, this is very inspiring tradition, initiated also by Holy Father, and they walk. During the communist time, 55,000 from Warsaw, but now the freedom, democracy, the priests, they walk minimum like 3 days, 5, 6 days from Krakow, 9 days from Warsaw, and 20 days from north of Poland. They call it a retreat in walking. It's a great spirituality because Father here in confession walking. They read the Bible, question and answer. They Holy Mass in historical places. They have great inspiration.
Legend tells us that this icon traces itself back to St. Luke, who painted it on a cedar tabletop from the house of the Holy Family. It is said that St. Helena discovered the icon in 326 and brought it to Constantinople and presented it to her son, Constantine the Great. Our Lady was given the honorary title Queen of Poland and is very dear to the Polish people. The icon, also known as the Black Madonna, has a rich history through the centuries, much of which entailed attacks on the image itself. Most notable was the attack of the Czech Hussites in 1430. 5 religious were killed and many of the golden vessels of the church were stolen, including the icon, which was loaded onto a wagon. Descending the hill from Jasna Góra, the horses stopped and could not move. One of the soldiers hurled the icon to the ground and it broke into 3 pieces. But the face of Our Lady and Jesus remained intact. The Hussites took a sword and slashed the Virgin Mary's face twice. When King Jagiello took the icon to Kraków for restoration, they attempted to fix the scars in the Virgin's face. But after all the attempts, the scars kept coming through, a perpetual reminder of the attack on the icon. This would always be a reminder to the Polish people of courage in the midst of suffering, for indeed the Poles would suffer greatly at the hands of communism, and attacks on both sides from the Germans and Russians. Our Lady of Częstochowa would be a consolation and protection for them in times of trouble. It is for that reason that people come to this shrine with great devotion and reverence for Our Lady.
The visit to Czestochowa was very impactful to me, where the Black Madonna was there, and you had people on their knees walking around the throne, and you had many other people there waiting, and I didn't see the same thing when we went to Vienna or even here in Prague. You don't see that.
One of the highlights of our time at the shrine is the celebration of Mass at the altar of the icon, a rare privilege, a concelebrated Mass with Bishop Rosansky.
And so as we come here today with great thanksgiving, with great joy, before the image, the icon of Our Lady of Czestochowa, we too ask Mary to intercede for us, to watch over us, to protect us, and always, each and every day, lead us closer to her Son, the author of life and our salvation.
We're standing here in the upper level of the sanctuary of Jasna Góra, and in this particular area are the Stations of the Cross that were painted in the year 2000 for the Jubilee year by Jerzy Duda Gracz. What's very interesting about these Stations of the Cross is incorporated a lot of the history of Poland. And behind me is the Station of the Cross where Jesus is taken down from the cross. And if you notice, Jesus' body is laid on the ground, and behind him is the image of the concentration camp. A very poignant image indeed, and something worth our meditation as we move through this beautiful sanctuary of Our Lady of Czestochowa.
Well, we had a wonderful tour guide who explained all the intricacies of the shrine and had a sense of humor as well.
Any priest preaches less than 45 minutes, the fifth report him to the bishop is not true priest. Is the same in America?
No. As we conclude our time in Czestochowa, we are given an opportunity to see something that many have never seen before. Father Simon takes Bishop Rosansky and me on a private tour of the cloister. We are led to the library, considered one of the most prestigious libraries in Poland. What a magnificent room, constructed of intricate inlaid wood from ceiling to floor, with shelves containing hundreds and hundreds of books dating back to the 17th century. The large tables in the library were used during the Nazi occupation of World War II as a place to hide the precious icons of the monastery underneath the tables. It has been visited by many notable people, one of them being Pope St. John Paul II. Bishop is given the privilege of signing his name in the registry as a guest, along with many notable visitors through the years. We are brought to the inner courtyard where the monks pray and meditate. In the center is a statue of Our Lady of Czestochowa. It is almost 100 years old and given as a gift during the Marian year. It's very rare to see a statue depicting the image of Our Lady of Czestochowa. I hope you enjoyed this tour of the inner sanctum of the Pauline Fathers and our visit to Warsaw and Czestochowa. Join us next week as we visit the beautiful city of Kraków.
And we're looking forward to Father Gary and Bill Pekosha's upcoming series next week as we continue to explore the sacred sites in Krakow as well as visit the legendary salt mines in Waliczka. For this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. And remember, for more updates anytime, you can find information and news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world on our news and information site, iobserve.org. We also are on Facebook, updating daily while our reporters work on stories for Reel to Reel. So check us out and friend us at Catholic Communications. Join me right back here next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.